We're walking outside. Anyway, this is part two tour of Yoriichi train Tanjiro. So we will skip to see two. Well, the two had luckily buried their parents and their family and their sensei, and one had buried his sensei. Tanjiro had buried his sensei. We see Tanjiro and Nezuko shedding a few tears. Nezuko just full on bawling her eyes out. Tanjiro was seen, he's just shedding a couple of tears. Tanjiro merely stands up and wipes the tears away quickly turning his back on the graves before walking away. Nezuko quickly, following behind him, her asking her older brother what they're going to do. Tanjiro merely sighing and saying he doesn't know. And that's when we can see Gyo, Tomoka? Yeah, Gyo Tomoka, I think. Finally arrive at that location he was given to. He looks around and merely just sees blood. And he merely just sees blood on snow and just graves. Tomioka sighing and saying he had arrived too late before looking out to the side and seeing the two staring at him. Tanjiro taking notice of his blade and merely just his blade. Tanjiro knowing that this was merely a demon slayer and that he had arrived late. Gyo Tomioka quickly walking up to the two before asking them what had happened. Tanjiro merely arriving after the bloodbath had no idea what had 100% happened. He only knew that this demon the demon had slaughtered his parents and family. Oh wow. Hold on. There is a bunch of ants outside. Tanjiro merely knowing that the demon had merely killed his family. There is a bunch of ants outside. What the hell? So, that's when Nezuko had started explaining what had happened. As she says that she had heard a knock on the door, and that's when her mom answered it before merely this bloody mass came, just shooting out the door and instantly killing her mom. After the impact had hit her, she had instantly died. Oh wow! Hold on. Okay, sorry for that interruption. But anyway, Nezuko merely explaining what had happened to her family and how this demon had slaughtered them. Luckily, she had gotten blood all over her and was merely just sitting down while this had happened, too much in shock to move, and so Muzan had thought she had merely died of shock. So, the man merely turning around, Gyo merely turning around before before he could walk off, the two had merely asked him what they were supposed to do after this bloodbath. Gyo turning around before merely just saying to go in this direction and tell the man Gyo Tomioka sent you. Him merely turning around before walking off again. And in that time span, if you're asking how did Tomioka not question Tanjiro where he got his demon slayer blade, he had hit it. So yeah. The two sighing before walking off after Tanjiro had gotten the blade. That's when Tanjiro had gotten a faint smell of let's just say blood. Him rushing towards the temple, and when arriving there, he saw the demon eating the corpses. Tanjiro merely going in a crouched stance once again before whispering under his breath, sun breathing first form, and then once again getting launched off towards the demon, and before it could 100% cut its head off, it had luckily moved to the side, and so Tanjiro had missed it, cutting its tongue. Cutting off its tongue. And so the demon swiftly punched Tanjiro away before looking back and seeing Nezuko. Tanjiro had luckily gotten the axe from the tree and tossed it at Nezuko. Nezuko quickly grabbing the hatchet and striking the demon in the face. Tanjiro once again quickly getting up before once again saying sun breathing first form and getting launched at the demon once again. Before Tanjiro could 100% reach it, it had luckily once again dodged and was now it was sent stumbling out of the temple. So after getting us at the temple, Tanjiro and Nezuko come running out and are currently looking at the demon. Him merely gaining a slight smirk on his face and saying that he looks like he had gotten 2 extra meals. Tanjiro obviously gets disgusted by this and once again goes down in the crouch position and says sun breathing second form before his blade gets engulfed by by a flame before running at the demon. It almost him almost becoming a blow to the demon and this time cutting its head clean off. Tanjiro merely sighs before turning around, him looking at the demon with a sympathetic look. The man never really wanted to become a demon. Tanjiro couldn't really blame him for, obviously, who wants to become a demon? Tanjiro merely just sighs before, turning around and was about to walk away, but that's when he smells, another person. Him looking at the direction of Urakodaki, and that's when he comes walking out. Him clapping his hands and saying that the boy didn't even hesitate to kill the demon. That's a rare sight. Indeed. The man, Tanjiro merely sighs and says that, you kind of, let's just say, you kind of get used to seeing a lot of organs and blood pumping through a person. So, Tanjiro merely asks the man who is he, and that's when he introduces himself as Urakodaki. Tanjiro smiles and says that he's the exact same person that they were looking for. The man merely asking, how did he? The man merely knowing that, the only other person to know besides the only person that knows where he is merely Tomioka. Him asking Tanjiro if Tomioka sent him. Him nodding and just Urakodaki looking at the two before telling them to follow him. The two walk after Urakodaki before arriving at his house. Urakodaki saying that they're going to train tomorrow. Start training tomorrow. So, we time skip to tomorrow, and that's when the two wake up and eat breakfast, and Urakodaki merely telling them to come outside. When the two come outside, they see two wooden swords, and that's when Urakodaki says, "You two are going to go up and down this mountain multiple times." After that, the same training arc ensues that Tanjiro went through. We all know the training arc, right? So, yeah. So, hold on. I quickly gotta do something. Sorry about that. So, that's when they get... that's when they are told to, once again, go up the mountain one final time. Urakodaki telling them that this would be the hardest time of the other times they did it. This would be the hardest. As they are halfway up the mountain, Tanjiro quickly grabs his sister and jumps to the side, and that's when a boulder, more like a mallet, comes swinging down out of nowhere onto the ground where they previously were. Tanjiro merely saying that Tanjiro merely saying that the traps this time are going to set on kill. Tanjiro sighs before once again just sniffing the air, trying to find other traps. That's when Tanjiro remembers one thing, or the Kodaki told them that they will be on a time limit. Tanjiro merely just sighing before once again trying to sniff out any other traps as fast as he can. Tanjiro looking around before knowing a safer route and merely grabbing his sister and running in that direction. Him looking back and telling his sister to just stay close to her. The two currently running up the mountain, and when they get to the top, they take a deep breath. him looking over at Nezuko, and a few things had changed. Kodaki already knew about Tanjiro's sword, and since he already had one, he didn't have to give Tanjiro his own real katana. Him merely giving Nezuko his and just telling her to merely be careful with it. Kind of as a test of sorts, seeing how fast you can move with the katana at your side. Nezuko merely having to once again adjust to the weight of the katana since she was merely used to the wooden one's weight. So yeah. Tanjiro sighs before once again standing up and saying that they need to start training again, that they need to start going back down the mountain very soon. Nezuko sighing and standing up, the two once again taking the same route down the mountain. After arriving at the bottom of the mountain, they see Koyaki standing there once again, giving them an applaud. Rokoraki smiles and says, in the near future, you two are going to be great demon slayers. Tanjiro and Nezuko merely smiling at, Urokodaki's claim. So, after a bit more of training, Urokodaki tells them that they'd be going to the Demon Slayer selection, exam. Urokodaki telling them that this exam would, tell them if they were going to be Demon Slayers or, once again, having to go to the same training. So, you better be training hard in this coming weeks. So yeah. After a couple of more weeks of training, that's when Urokodaki approaches the two and tells them, to follow him. The two follow Urokodaki to see, two big boulders, one boulder being bigger than the other. Urokodaki says, for your final test, you two would need to cut these two boulders in half. Urokodaki giving Nezuko the smaller boulder of the two, and giving Tanjiro the biggest one. Tanjiro merely just pulling out his katana before going down in a downward slash. Him merely cutting the boulder in half before looking over at Urokodaki with a blank stare. Urokodaki getting a slight switch up, saying that Tomioka at least took a couple of months to do that. Him looking over at Nezuko to see her trying to do the same thing, but her ultimately failing. And yeah, Nezuko basically does the same thing that Tanjiro went through. Him having to try to cut the boulder, and that's when Sabato shows up and helps her cut the boulder. So yeah, we skip to the Demon Slayer exam after a few preparations, such as Urokodaki giving Nezuko his sword. The two had luckily learned water breathing, and Tanjiro really had no use for it, but still learned it out of respect for Urokodaki. So Nezuko this time had a blue type of yoriichi on. Tanjiro merely has his original one on. Nah, yoriichis. I'll bring up a picture if I can find one. This is the Hayori Tanjiro is currently wearing. So yeah, after the two had prepared to walk off, Urakodaki quickly comes out of the two, them turning around, and that's when Urakodaki gives them the masks. Tanjiro gets the same mask as in canon to match his scar, while Nezuko merely gets a blank mask, the one like Sabuto's. So, except for that one scar that Sabuto has, it does not have the scar. Another one mark that Sabuto's mask has. Hold on, I'll pick up a picture. This is, this is the mask that, Nezuko has. And the reason it has no mouth is because, it symbolizes that Nezuko doesn't really talk a lot. So, yeah. The two get their masks and walk off to, the Demon Slayer exams. And this is where I'm gonna end this off. Goodbye.